I was able to stack up 27,514 for Damage Rocketeers, Leapers, or Bastions during a night raid on Dam Battleground. The strategy itself is incredibly simple, but the equipment to use for it is anything but light. If you've seen my Rocketeer strategy from before, this is the same general strategy I use there. For your equipment, don't be alarmed by my bag. I definitely overpacked here. I've never really used the Jupiter outside of the Queen and Matriarch, so was not sure how much ammo and durability it would burn across the entire match. I only ended up using a single Jupiter with 7 stacks of ammo throughout the match, and I used it primarily for all fights, so 7 to 8 stacks should work great for your run. Make sure your Jupiter is at 100 durability. Mine was 100 when I started, and I left with it at 13. You'll need zip lines or a snap hook for this strategy to get yourself on top of the pipeline tower. You can bring wolf packs for Rocketeers if you want, but I've found it's not really necessary for this challenge. The Jupiter does the job really well, so you can save yourself some space by packing less or none at all. You will want a few deadlines though, to farm Bastion easier when it respawns. Outside of that, I recommend a medium shield and at least one spare shield, since you'll be fighting primarily Rocketeers and Bastions, which can make quick work of a shield if you're not careful. 4 spawns, each type will spawn in slightly different locations, and the map can have as many as 4 to 5 Leapers at a time, 3 to 4 Rocketeers at a time, and 2 Bastions at a time across the match. Rocketeers will spawn near the testing annex, near the control tower, and will patrol around the top of it, the Hydrodome complex, and the power generation extraction point. Leapers will spawn at the testing annex, at the bottom of the control tower, anywhere in the Red Lakes, water treatment extraction, and in the Hydrodomes. Bastion spawns at Pipeline Tower and in the Hydrodomes. It can spawn below the Pipeline Tower as well, all the way on the ground, so keep an eye out for that. In terms of scoring, Bastion will give you the most at about 4,000 per limb during a 2x event. It depends on whether or not you get the full amount of damage, or how many points you're rewarded with. Leapers and Rocketeers give 2,200 points each if you get full elims on them. Remember, in solo queue, every raider is out for themselves, and sharing damage means sharing trial score. As an example, there's only 2,200 points per Rocketeer, and the amount of damage you do correlates to how many trials points you receive. Once you spawn in, you want to head towards the pipeline tower extraction, and if your path crosses one of the enemy spawns, definitely grab those elims as you go. In my attempt, the Hydrodome Bastion was on the way, but hadn't spawned in yet, so I just moved directly to the pipeline tower. Once you find Bastion, prioritize any wasps or hornets in the area, and then aggro it to your location. Ideally, you want Bastion as close to you as possible, then focus hitting one of its legs, specifically on the yellow joint, with the Jupiter. After a few shots, the leg will explode in fire, and Bastion will become immobilized for 10 seconds. Equip a deadline and mantle onto its head, plant the deadline directly in the center, then quickly get back to safety and behind a solid object like a wall. If placed correctly, the deadline will one-shot Bastion. Once Bastion has been eliminated, use a zipline or snap hook to get on top of the pipeline tower. From here, you want to aggro the Rocketeer that's closest to you. For me, it was the power generation complex. You can focus your Jupiter shots right into the Rocketeer's main body. It actually shreds Rocketeers in just a handful of shots. Once the Rocketeer is smoking, you can use a wolf pack to finish the job. You can honestly save your wolf packs though. The Jupiter makes quick work of Rocketeers, but having a wolf pack ready is still good practice. Wolf packs are great for absorbing all of the damage if you have another raider attacking the same enemy you are. From here, you just want to keep rotating between Rocketeer spawns, hitting them with the Jupiter and pulling them towards you. Rocketeers have a weird behavior pattern where the further you aggro them from, the longer they'll idle in the air, taking damage for free. In most cases, you can eliminate the Rocketeer with Jupiter shots before it ever attacks you. You can see the Bastion in the Hydrodome complex from here, and you can do decent damage to it with the Jupiter. It's not at all the most effective way to do it, but it takes a lot of time to drop off of the pipeline tower, run over to the Hydrodome, aggro Bastion to you, take out a leg and deadline it, then run back to the pipeline tower to reset. Not to mention the risk of a rogue raider out for you. I chose to fight the Bastion from this location, but found out as I went that it's not really as safe as I thought it was going to be. Bastion can and will fire a barrage of bullets at you, and it can be deadly if you're not careful. I recommend prioritizing any Bastion that's not actively fighting another raider. That way you can get the most score possible for each elimination. If you are working on one enemy and have another that's closer to you that starts to fight a raider, I recommend swapping focus and taking out the closer enemy first to get as many trials points as you can. That's what happened for me, and I ended up using 3 wolf packs on that one bastion to take most of the damage away from that raider fighting it under me at pipeline. In a perfect world, you could drop off a pipeline tower, take out a leg, and deadline it, but each game is different, so being flexible with your strategy is key. Beyond that, there isn't a ton more to this challenge. Take note of where the extraction is. Ideally, it's the power generation complex, since that's so close to this location. If it's water treatment, head that way with adrenaline shots around 4 minutes remaining to be safe. In my game, I had more than a few droughts, where enemies just weren't spawning back in for a time. Even after the 5-minute warning, enemies were totally absent, which felt somewhat odd to me. I don't know if it was intended or not, so it's very possible you could get a lot more score if you get better spawns than I did. Remember that extracting safely with your score is far more important than stacking up a couple more thousand points at the last minute. So don't try and be a hero, just head for the extraction once time is winding down. Head back to Speranza, collect your loot if you haven't already, and watch your score rocket up the leaderboard. That's going to be it for me today, all. Thanks for watching.